What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a fantastic Saturday. Frozen, what's up, my brother? Oh, Frozen, I don't know why the message didn't just pop up, but I saw it. What's up, man? Hey, Ty, what's up, my man? It's not looking too bad. I did a little bit of rearranging in the studio today. I had a rare, free Saturday because the motocross race we were going to go to got rained out. So, I had a little bit of free time. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. Plus, there's supposed to be another one next week, but I'm not going to be able to make it to that because my paternity leave is ending, so I'll be starting back to work, and I've got to take care of something on that Saturday. Dude, the rain's nuts. I'm rocking the green Jockos again, by the way, which you can't see. All right. What did I do today? Nothing. I've got a new computer set up in here, so I'm working on downloading a lot of data from my dad's old computer to migrate it to his new computer. Unfortunately, that means the office is extra hot because I don't know why his old computer just puts out so much heat. It's just like a little space heater. So I added a new monitor, so there's another monitor over here because I'm getting ready to hopefully expand to doing streams onto X, and so I'm gonna have more space for keeping track of chat messages and whatnot. So I added a new monitor. I got the lights. I got the NAS, my desktop, my server. It's just there's so much equipment in this room. I bumped into a game developer. I think we're going to be producing music and sound effects for a game to go up on Steam. Nice, dude! I can't wait to test that out. I did actually have a little bit of time to play Darktide today, so I had some fun with that. You know, got them heretics aren't going to purge themselves. Let me see here. So I had left myself a note here. That's right. There was an error with the pre-flight check. We're doing task switching. So I need to check the hunting loop on page 50. What did I do there? Oh, I think I remember what happened is... Yeah, I remember what happened. So, the order of events that's happening goes like this. I had to refresh myself what we were working on Tuesday night. So the first thing we'll do is, we'll do the pre-flight check. So the pre-flight check should come through, and it should say, hey, by the way, can we answer the task? Can we complete this task using data we've already gathered, or do we need to go gather additional data? That's the first thing that happens. Second thing that happens is if it skips the pre-flight check, it's then going to take this current task. So then it's going to do some running against the current. So basically, if it didn't get validated, it should look through and try to say, hey, what's another approach we should have to this? The third thing it does then is it goes on a task hunt. So if it was already pre-flight checked and it's already completed, it's already been validated. So if it was assigned to recon and is not validated, it goes through this. So that would mean if it's assigned to recon and is validated, it should come down here and it should hunt for the next recon task. So the last thing it'll do is it'll task hunt for the next one. Task, I can't remember. We're gonna come over here, we're gonna do a task hunt. The problem is, with this current layout is the task hunt completely skips the pre-flight check. So it will begin immediately taking action on it. So this execution loop has to be redone. Gotta rework it. Hey, Cypher, what's up, man? Yep, so let's see about this. This should, in theory, work. But the problem is the pre-flight check is happening before all this. I'm trying to think. Take a look here. This might be as simple as moving the pre-flight check down to below the task hunt down here. It might be as simple as that. Let's see. So the pre-flight check, that's all pretty simple logic. Let me double check this. Check the current task status and take action. So if it's assigned to recon and it's not validated, then we go ahead and grab all these pieces of information. Let's see. If it's a working task, we do following. I don't think we actually need the target IP in here. All right, so we check to see, is it a working task? Is it a task? So we set up a couple items. Okay, so we have the return statement here. That's right. All right. So the next thing we would do then is we would come through set. We would basically stop hunting on the first new task. Yeah, actually, I believe this would be straightforward enough. Because let's think about this. Let's say, so if we had a task that we had just validated, let's think about the run through of this. What's going to happen is the task is going to come through. Actually, let's think about if we move this chunk of code down below the hunting loop down here. What's going to happen is we're going to take that task. We're going to take out a couple pieces of information. We actually don't even need this context append here, I don't believe. I think we can actually take those out. But we set it to working. Set the current task to the index. Yeah, actually, because we don't return anything from this. It doesn't actually get executed till here. So yeah, I think we'll be fine. Because what's going to happen is we're going to take that task, we're going to set it to working. If it's a working task, then we say we're going to rework the task. Yeah, that's fine. So this actually should be just as simple as taking this little section of code here. Except, I just realized something. Our pre-flight check is right here. Yeah, that gets defined. All right, we'll have to move more than one data. That's right. We'll move the loop down. Yeah. You know, this is the indented out. There we go. I didn't want it to be part of this else block. This should be something different. Let's see. So the other thing we'll need to do is the pre-flight check right here. This needs to get taken out of here because we're going to have to redo that. So the current task is set to here. But current task actually gets set up here, so that's not what we're going to take a look at. What we actually want is... Okay, so we reset the current task index. So we're going to have to just nuke this part out, right? So what this will be is... this part, right? We want this. So what we want to do is we want to access that state task current. By the way, let me know how the audio's sounding because my headphones ate it. One of the earpieces just literally came off over here. So I switched to these in-ear models. It's making the audio a little bit funky on my side, but none of the other audio levels have changed. So if the audio gets funky, if I'm not talking loud enough, let me know and I can mess with it. Okay, audio sounds good? Awesome. Check this. Orso test, pre-flight check. So what we'll do is we'll just grab the pre-flight check here. There we go. That should work perfectly. I think it's saying this is a typo. No, it's not a typo. Ignore. Ignore. A little bit louder than normal, but it's okay. All right. Cool. So we set up our pre-flight check. In fact, this is so simple. I think I'm just gonna take and just drop it down here. It should be pretty self-explanatory. So I think this will. I'm gonna basically make the same change over to enum here. We'll do the same thing. Take this code out. I'm gonna put this post. Except let's keep indenting it to that else block. That's not in the else block. There we go. And then we'll take out this line. We don't need that. And then what we need is our grab that. Just to grab that pre-flight check data again. There we go. Yeah, I think that should actually work just fine. We had it. Dang it, you know what I should have done before starting up the stream is I should have gotten into TryHackMe and started. Oh, terminate. I don't want to. There we go. There we go. Let's start this. That's one thing I actually don't like is, so watch, one thing that TryHackMe does that the UI kind of bothers me. If I open this section, it automatically scrolls down to it, and I don't want it to do that. It's like it auto, and so I'm scrolling, and then it's like auto for me. Here. We're just waiting for that box to come up, and then we'll go try running it through here again. If this all works, then I think we'll probably be clear to move on to the exploit agent. Oh, that's going to be painful, but it's going to hurt so good. Come on, baby. Make it hurt so good. Hey, there we go. This. Let's go run a test on. Hey GoPro, what's up, man? Figuring out Twitch clippy things. Dude, the Twitch flipping thing is actually pretty cool. I am actually been messing around with Descript, and I kind of like it. It's pretty neat. So I might go ahead and spring for the pro version of Descript. And doing pretty decent. I start back to work on Monday. I decided to go ahead and cut my paternity leave short. And we've got a big company get together in Chicago. So I'm going to be flying out to Chicago on Tuesday. So there won't be a Tuesday night stream this next week, but then we'll pick back up like normal next Saturday. And then following that, I will start back to doing the news on Tuesdays. I just haven't had the brain cycles to try and want to deal with the news. What am I looking for? Here we go. This is what I was looking for. All right, so finger. One thing also I actually want to go through and see about doing here is I might try to set up a very simple Postgres database. So that way we can do memory checkpoints to it. And because right now, all the checkpointing is kind of just being done in memory. I really did want to have a checkpointer so that if we wanted to fork and rerun something, we could. Let's go ahead and... So before I do this, let me do a quick sanity check before I start burning cycles on this. This in here. Okay, cool. So we can reach the VPN. Right, let's run it. So practically full. Sock came in and she's like inspecting my water cup, and I was like, it's like I got plenty of water, thanks. I'll be at Hackspace Con on Tuesday. Oh, nice. I haven't been to really many cons at all since a couple years ago. I had been over at DEF CON and Black Hat 2 years ago. Getting on to 2 years now, so I really need to... I would like to go back and visit. I just haven't picked out a conference to go to. Okay, so we hit something with the validator. I want to say we hit this issue already. I thought we had fixed it, though. Oh, line 61 in Recon Agent. Okay. Yeah, because I had removed some... Recon. Hey, Sin, what's up, man? Take a look at this. The best use I saw of the Intel PMK and EX Enclave for fast IPC. Oh, so sorry, that's the first con outside your local B-sides and meetups. Nice. Dude, I hope you have a good time, man. Just get to know some folks and hang out. That's one of the best things to do. Recon Agent, line 61. Did I not save these changes and admit the changes? I bet I didn't. Yeah, I think that's what happened. All right. Let me do this again. Getting out of my shoebox. Okay, so let's go see what Recon's doing. Alright, so it should do his tool node call. In-map TCP port send scan, perfect. Because it's the very first time we're touching the box, it absolutely has to make it. Alright, so we're gonna hit the output formatter, get some in-map business back. And then we're gonna make the host updates. All right, cool. Then we hit the enum. Nice. We hit the validator. Perfect. So we task switch to hit the validator. So for some reason, though, now it's doing a tool call. Oh, it's already gone to Go Buster. That is badass because Go Busters should be the last thing it did. It's only made 2 tool calls. It made the in-map sin scan, which should have gotten it all the information it actually needed to answer the other 2, and now it's gone to Go Buster. Winning. That's badass. That makes me happy. This sparks joy. So let me go ahead and open up the trace real quick. Let's go take a look at it. See exactly what it did. So we passed in the tools that it's got. We did an in-map TCP port sin scan. Let's look at the output from, actually, let's look at the output formatter here, right? So the output format shows us we have 2 ports open, and our list of questions that we had. I go to Stinger. So the questions are, how many ports are open? It should be able to answer that. What version of Apache is running? What service is running on 22? So all 3 of these questions or tasks should have been answered from that one initial scan. So if we look just down the list, there's our first tool call. We come down again. We have one more tool call right down here at the bottom. Go Buster. Awesome. Not exactly first try cipher because I had to go. Well, I guess it did. I had to save the code for it to hot patch the changes in. But still, that's awesome. So what this means is we're going to make more efficient use of our data by using the host section. Nice. All right, let me see here. So we do the tool node. We hit the validator. Scan the target. How many ports are open? Answer 2. Perfect. All right, so now after this, it should task switch and go over to the enum agent. So our enum agent here comes through. It pulls out what our current task is. This is great. So let's look at this. Remember, we put a couple of pieces of tracking data into the tool, into the individual task segments, right? So this one says, hey, it was assigned to recon. It's validated. Here was the target IP. Here's the question. Our answer was this. And then if we look at our output, we got all the output from InMap, right? But also look at our tool calls. We had one single tool call, which was this right here. But then look here. Oh, this didn't get validated. Interesting. Ooh, okay, hold on. So did we skip these? We did. Okay, so something got funky in here. So it's not quite as good as I was hoping. As we look through the task list, see this? Answer empty string. So it did mark this one as working. Task 2 is still marked as new. It had no string. Task 3 is marked as new. Ah, damn it. That was premature celebration. All right, so it's still running the Go Buster in here. That's right. I was getting really excited because I thought it was working on the first time through. That's all right. What we'll do is... So we hit the recon handoff because of all of our tasks, right? Only one of them was assigned to recon, which was the first task. Recon, enum, enum, enum. So if we come over to enum, let's track through this. I'll analyze the in-map output. Okay. Let's see. Recon agent says no task marked for execution. We're passing to Stinger. Stinger then says, hey, I'm passing to enum. Oh, that is so loud in these new earbuds. Want to get hot? What's up, man? Thanks for coming online. Oh, that was amazingly loud in these earbuds. Let's see here. So let's look at the validator here. So our task was what service is running on port 22? Output SSH. Okay, so why did that not get properly parsed onto the tool output? Oh, look at this. For some reason, it still says the current task is 1. Oh, this is weird. Look at this. So enum, so recon goes through and completes the recon phase. We pass it to Stinger. Enum comes through and does some stuff, but then passes back over to Stinger. But then Stinger passed back to enum. That is unexpected. That is suboptimal. Let's come down here and look at the messaging. All right, so here's that was our initial tool call for nmap. So task 0 gets validated. How many ports are open to? Okay, we need to make a small change here. So our sending task to the validator code is a little bit funky. Look at that. Or enum. Okay, so we don't want the current task. We want probably whatever our current task index is. Just do. So rather than sending that whole thing, it's just that's what. But that should be which service is port 22. Task 1 validated. Okay, good. Hold on, something. Did we skip a task in here? Hold on, let's go look. Because we look at our task list. Right, we have 4 tasks. First one is scan the target, find out how many ports are open. What's running on 22? What version of Apache is running? Did we just completely skip task index 2? What are you doing, my little AI bot? We have task 1 validated. Why does it say passing back to enumerate? So we get one here that says task was unanswered. So where is our validator? So something's causing it to skip. It's jumping an index in the task. Was I dummy? Was that something we're actually doing down in the validator loop? We get the question and answer, that's fine. So we set the task to validated. Set the task answer equal to response. Which I think actually if we wanted to make this a little bit less clunky, do here. Yeah, this is so odd. So look at this. So current task goes to 1, right? We pass it back to Stinger. What was the output from Stinger? For some reason, Stinger, that's what it is. Stinger set the current task to 3. I was not expecting it to pass it back. Why did it pass back though? Interesting. I wish I could actually return routing messages from the enum router. Because typically what you have to do is from the function, you've got to return basically like a subset of the state or the entire state table. It gets updated. Yes. But with the router function, what we're doing is literally just returning the name of the next node. Do this. So something funky happened here. So this thing, our current task is 1 right here. So let me think about, because here's where the breakdown is happening. It's happening right around here. So 0 and 1 works just fine. There's something that happened where the logic completely skipped over 2, and for some reason went. So let's take a look here. So we hit the recon agent tool node, output formatter, we update the host, then we hit the validator. After validator goes back to agent, and then we hand it off because we don't have anything else going. When we hit enum, we hit the enum agent. That sends it to the router, which then sends it to the validator. So this should be sending. So current task 1, which is correct, because we did task 0 in recon, now we're in task 1. Validator comes through and validates it. What was our output? So our output was validated task 1. Bam. Goes back over to enum agent. What service is running on port 22? Which we already did that, actually. Alright, so something funky happened here. Because from here, we actually answer that. What service is running on port 22? And then the output we get, I realize you can't probably see it from my big ass head, but what we're getting is a message that says, hey, what is running on this? So we're sending that task to validator for pre-flight check. Which is weird because then for some reason when it hits the router, it outputs to handoff. See that? So I don't know why it decided to send it to handoff here. Let's check the router real quick. Okay, so this checks to say, hey, so if we haven't done the pre-flight check, then we go to validator. But, however, this one even shows us pre-flight check true. So it's already been completed. That's why it skipped this and it goes to handoff. All right, so let's look at this. Where did we say that we were sending this task to? Validator. Take a look. All right, so we're going to check if we can answer this before tool calling. This is weird, though, because this should say the pre-flight check is... Oh, you know what happens? The current task gets set way up here. I think we should be referencing task call. Come to think of it. Because we run through the loop here. Yeah, I think that's what we want. We don't want state current task. I think we want task call here. That's the one we want to actually be operating on. So we check to see if the we can answer the task before tool calling. So task call actually gets modified from this loop here. Yeah, I think that was the error. This part right, Tremere. Okay. I think we can make this work. I'm gonna make the same change over here. This would be task call. Because this is the one that's getting modified as part of the checks. Basically saying, hey, what's the status of the current task? We're going to be working on it. What's our task call? Things like that. Oh, wait, no, that's not correct, actually. Forgot about this. That is not correct. Take that back. Yeah, this should work because look, if it comes through. Damn it, let me think about this. Task 1 gets validated, but then for some reason it tries to revalidate it. Here. We got all the way to this part. How did it even get to here? That's the question. Look at this, we're referencing the same one, right? Pre-flight check false, but now it says pre-flight check true. Let's see here. All right. Wait, should that be a double E? I think we're just getting lucky because actually I just realized we had an assignment operator instead of a logical check operator. All right, so if it's assigned to, let's go back to recon. So if it's assigned to recon is validated, then our task string is going to be. Let me go ahead and actually, I'm going to reformat that. That's going to be task string, just to match what's going on at recon. So here's our current task looking at. All right, so if it's assigned and is validated, or if it's assigned and is not validated, then we set the current task string. So I can see a little bit. What we'll do is, so if it's assigned and it is not validated, that we extract the task string. If it's working, we say we're going to rework the task. Get the current, whatever the state current task is, get the task string. It's a new task, we set that to working. We do new thing. This is all basically preparing everything for the language model call. And if we don't find the new task set is the, then we go through and we hunt for a new one. We check to see, okay, so for everything that's in the task list, if it's assigned to recon and it's marked new, we extract the task string. Say we set the status to working, we update the index here. I don't see we ever saw whether it said we were reworking the task. Agent message append, recon, starting a new task. This is not what I want. There's a type. Grab this section here. Oh, what is the current task? Alright, so check if we can answer the task before calling. We check it, say if the if the current task, oh, there we go. That's probably, because current task never really gets updated. That's another part of it right there. So let's just go ahead and make it explicit. You know what? So originally I extracted all of these variables because I saw them as being like highly reusable, but I think it's actually just causing it to be a bigger pain in the ass. What I think I might do is go back through later and rework this and take. All right, so we run the let's run the pre-flight check. So basically what we're doing here is we're checking to see, hey, by the way, do we have information on this target IP address? If we do, then we're going to route it to what we're going to do is we're going to route it over to the validator to see if it can validate with its current. So we're going to send the task. We're going to get the task string out of there to validator for pre-flight check. Let's go rerun this. Well, actually, the problem is we're making all these changes over in Recon, and Recon only has it hit a couple of times. Really, it's the enum agent that have it. But one thing we could also do, though, is and cheat a little. So I can view the state. So if we come back over here to initialize. God, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. Task call's not. It's because we changed the name of it. We changed that. Don't change it. There we go. It hadn't emitted the changes to the server. For some reason, that's kind of weird. It's a hotfix. Digress. Got the raw JSON. What I can do is actually I can manipulate this a wee bit. So here's our task list. So the first one is assigned to Recon. I can actually change this and assign this to. What we can do is we can send that to Stingray. Take that back. I wanted to go. Run that in Stingray.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
What's up, man? Just dealing with good old-fashioned logic bugs. Let's see, what does this they add? Interesting. They added some kind of little chat feature in here, but I don't know why it wasn't doing it. All right. Well, fine. Let me just go. You go grab this here. Let's try rerunning it. What I want to do is I'm going to try and force the state to actually have the first 2 tasks run in recon. This has been such a pain in the ass. I wonder if I shouldn't just merge enum and reconnaissance together. I know I shouldn't, actually, because in the future, we're going to need the differentiation between the 2. Right now, in this very, very basic example, they're so identical. They're basically like twins. It's like we got Luke and Leia running. Except they don't kiss each other. That's what. Let me do something. When I hit the... Ew, kissing twins. I'm going to interrupt after we hit the initializer. I think I can edit the state table over here. If I can, that would be super handy. Actually, it looks like, look at this. For some reason, it did assign both to John, right? Didn't you? Might have just been that the AI was listening and it's like, oh, he really wanted those first 2 tasks to go to recon. They're constantly. Yeah. I know you can't see the logo, but not sponsored by Jocko. My back is actually feeling a lot better. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to do a Murph, but I'll do some kind of cool challenge. And I'll send it to Jocko, be like, hey man, I did this with a jacked up back. So we got to answer that one. Gotta do some office chair stunt, right? This is so weird. Look at this. Okay, so there's definitely something odd in the loop. Because look at this. So we don't get an answer for this one, right? All we get is what service is running empty string. So for some reason, it did the first one here, right? We look at the answer. How many ports are open? 2. Got that. For some reason, recon completely glossed over task number 1 and didn't know what service was running on port 22 for some reason. But it did figure out it was Apache 2429. And then for some reason, completely whiffed on GoBuster. What the heck has happened? Take a look at something quick. What changes have been made here? Okay, so nothing really changed there. What Stinger agent? There was like a minor change to Stinger agent. Oh, dude, did I not commit the work I did on Tuesday night? Oh, that is a total fail and noob move. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the almighty power of the Control-Z until we move the pre-flight check back to where it was. Okay. Things are kind of back where they were now. I'm going to do the same thing over on Enum. As much as I hate this, I should have committed a lot of this stuff. I can't believe I didn't commit this on Tuesday night. Talk about Jackass style band. Okay. So currently we're back to where we were at the start of the stream, which is not horrible, but it's also not ideal. But let's see this. So we do need to go through this loop here. Get commit message not sponsored yet. Oh shit. I don't know what I just changed it. Okay. First thing let me do is let's update that, because this message is kind of messy, but that's okay, because what we can do is we can just copy this part. Same thing here. Let's see, so sending task, validator.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Oni, this is what gives me trust issue.
Fight the planet!
The planet. What's up, man? Nerd! You know. Alright, so if the current target IP address is not in the state table, put a note here. Check if we have an entry for the target. Okay, so if we don't, we're actually just going to return immediately. It says, hey, by the way, we don't have this. But the problem is, what we're doing is we're checking just the pre-flight check status. So the issue we came across was this should be tasks. Yak. Get a job. Which I really just realized what I used as a remote for that little skit. It's basically stomach medicine I picked up when I got amazingly sick at this supposedly high-end resort in Mexico. And it wasn't just me, it was like 30% of my party that I was with. And so it was yeah, it was one of those resorts that like they try to pretend to be like really high class, but you can see where they cut all the corners in the resort. And I was like, I'm not surprised I got food here. I'm not surprised 30% of the people I came with got food here. All right, this is all kinds of funky. I actually thought I was going to get to the exploit agent tonight, but looking at this, I realized the code here is getting kind of long. What I think actually I might want to do is take this and actually move it down here. I tell it. Let's see if we can rethink this a little. So what happens is we have a task come in, right? That task can be a one of three states. It could be completely new. It could be working, or it can be validated. Right? Let's double check that real quick. So our task states are new, working, and validated. Right. So if it is a new task, then what we want to do is we want to do a pre-flight check. And then potentially do tool calls. If it's in a working state, then we should have already skipped the pre-flight check. Right? Let me think about this. If it's already working, like if we've already been doing work on it, I mean, as soon as we pick up that task in the link, we say, hey, we don't have to worry about a pre-flight check. And if it's validated, then we go on a task hunt. So if it's working, we don't need to think about this. How did I write this? So if it's a working task, we say we're just reworking the message, right? And in fact, I just realized that what we'll need to do is we'll probably have to come through. But we immediately set this to be a working task. So the question is, if it's a working task, do we ever need to do the pre-flight check again? Really, we just have to do the pre-flight check if the agent sees it as a new task. In reality, that's the only time we have to actually do that check. And then we can pass it to, after the pre-flight checks, we can do tool potentially. It has two options. It can go to tool calls, or it can just be answered. So the task gets completed. If it's already working, this is whenever it enters the agent, right? So this would be like this is when it enters the agent. If it enters the agent already in a working state, it can't go to working without going through the pre-flight. So this should go immediately to tool calls. Hey, Slyborg, what's up? Oh, yeah, also.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
Yeah, I think this is the way we need to rework that logic. So if the task comes in, first thing let's do is check if it's new. If it's new, it'll immediately take a preview. Glad I got to experience that.
Bullshit, I
Everybody
can't
gets
hear
one.
you. Sound off like you got a pair.
GoPro. GoPro. Bam. Bam.
Hack the planet!
That planet. You guys are going wild with the soundboard tonight. I do have a list here of like new stuff I need to add to the soundboard. Band has been like, oh, by the way, you need this, you need this, you need this. I'm like, thanks, man. When I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I put aside childish ways. I would like to say that, but at the same time, I'm still the one like, you know, laughing at my kids whenever they farted. Yeah, I think this will work. We rework the status like this, like, hey, by the way. But the question is, which order we want to do this in? I think we want to do this in this order. First thing we'll do is we'll check to see if it's validated. If it's validated, we want to go on a task hunt. Yeah, so that's actually the first thing we should be checking. Is the current task validated? Because then it's completely done. It has been completed, it has been answered, it can be sent on. So that is the first, I think that's the first check we want to do. We'll check if the task is validated. Was it complete? The second check we want to do then is go on a task hunt. Actually, I take that back. I don't know if validated is the best place to start. I think the best place to start actually is with, is it working? So like, did we do a tool call and it not have the data we needed to answer the question? Okay, we need to do a subsequent. Because if it's working, we instantly just say, okay, cool, let's go make a tool call. After that, then it would be, hey, by the way, is the task validated? So check if it's working. If it's working, do some stuff. If it's validated, go on a task hunt and then process it if it's a potentially new task. That's a good Hackers movie trivia question. What was serial killer's real name? Emmanuel Goldstein. You are not in my class, sir. I've got that movie, and I have been threatening my wife to make her watch it with me. God, I remember when I was 12 and I made my parents watch it with me. And keep in mind, my mother was 42 when she had me, so at 12 years old, my mother would have been 54. Watching that movie, he's like, I didn't care for that movie. I was like, I thought it was amazing. One of my mom's favorite things to say is that movie has no redeeming social value. That's exactly how she described it. Yeah, I think this is the way we want to check this out. So I think I'm going to gut the primary logic in this all the way up to here. Let's see. Make a note here. So setting up LM call. I'm going to bust this out. So essentially, most of this code here is going to get reworked. And half of me just says strip it out and write it back from scratch. me do something. Me rename that. That's going to be task string. This is setting up LLM call. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and commit the code that I've got here. Let me change the prompts. Yeah, we did something. So stuff for changed in poetry. Oh, something got updated. Okay. Let's see. Adding pre-flight check and fixing execute. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and push that up to GitHub, like I should have done on Tuesday. And then what I'm gonna do is just about all this code is gonna go bye-bye. Because what I want to do is start root. So first thing I want to do is check, is it validated? Well, we do need to do that. So we check, is it assigned to recon? And is it validated? If it's validated, we have to execute that, what is it? That task hunt. We have to have it go through and search for the new task. Let's think about this. So as much as I hate to do this, I'm going to do this because this current task is kind of what's messing it. I'm going to just replace all. Take that out. So is it a new task? Is it a working, validated? Is it assigned to? Let's do a quick check here. So what we're going to do is say, so if it's a validated task, we're going to say if, actually take this back, minor change here. We're going to say, is it assigned to recon? If it's assigned to recon and is validated, then what we're going to do is we're actually going to come down here and we're going to execute the task hunt. There we go. So that's the first execution right there. The validate. Actually, there's one more I want to do here. We do if is working first. So if it's a working task, we're not even going to check the pre-flight check. We're just going to continue down the line.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Frozen. Frozen. You have trust issues, bro.
Fight the planet!
That planet. You guys are going nuts on the soundboard. Nerd! Damn it, Oni. You know how to tell me, man. I know. My kids. My parents. My in-laws. More sounds. I will work on adding them, I promise. I probably should have done that today. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 new sounds I want to try and put on there. I'll see if I can track them down. Okay. Let's put it there. Tasking workflow. The first thing, let me make a note of this real quick in here. I need to shorten that. It's really
Incoming transmission from Frozen_Fashion.
Thanks for the 100 biddies, Frozen. I appreciate that. If you send a message with that, it will TTS it. Yeah, here we go. Let's see. Check if it's working. That's pretty much it. So then what we're going to do here is, then we're going to do, that's how we do this. So we're check if it's working. Proceed to tool calling. And then if it, let's see. Check if validated. Then check for any new tasks. All right, let's say just check for next task. And then here, let's say check if new. Then do pre-flight check. And okay, so is it working? If it is, then bam, we just set that, and then we're good. If it's validated, yeah, so then we check if it's validated. If it's validated, then yeah, so we're gonna do it like this. Is it assigned reader? I'm gonna put these in the same order that we check for. Alright, so we check, is it a working task? Bam. Is it a validated task? If it is, then awesome, we break out of the loop, and we should be good here. And we'll come back here, and then we'll do another LF, and this last LF will be if it's a new task. And we're gonna have to go through and validate each of these because, like, did we use current task? We just referencing the state table directly. I'm gonna try and do less of this and this a little bit, and just build out these variables as I need them. Agent messages, I'm kind of constantly need. Task string, we're gonna need. But like this context one here, I'm actually gonna kill that, and then we'll readdress it wherever. We'll do an LF here, and this would be, is it a new? Is new task. So if it's a new task, then we want to do our pre-flight check.
Fight the planet!
Attack the plane. Wait, did it not send the... There it goes.
Incoming transmission from S1Y_B0RGL. Start my own theme park. With blackjack. And hookers.
I wonder if I should try and get a voice-to-text bot that sounds like Bender, because that would be legit. Although I might get sued for it. Nerd! Bender's kind of litigious. Dinosaurs, because that's always goes well in a movie. Yeah, exactly.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
There was I heard actually a really funny one from one of the doctors I was talking to. It's like it was
Incoming transmission from Frozen_Fusion. Let's go. More sound, please. Lol.
sound. If I can get I get some time, maybe I'll do it tonight after the stream. I'm not sure. I'll try to get the rest of the sounds onto the soundboard. But actually, I heard a really funny one. It was what do storms wear under their clouds? So what do storms wear under the clouds? Thunderpants. I couldn't stop myself from laughing at that one. All right, let's see here. So else if it's a new task. All right, so the last thing that should be here, else would be, hey, by the way, we don't have any new tasks. We're going to route back. No tasks available. So we're just routing back to Stinger. Being a father myself, I'm all too familiar with dad jokes. Dude, they're just so... I don't know what it is. And I'm assuming it's an epigenetic thing where as soon as like you see that little scrunched up bundle, you're like, oh, now I have new genes turning on. If you're not familiar with what epigenetics is, it's actually how genes express. So you may have a gene for a particular protein or process in your body that actually isn't activated, and it gets activated through different methylation pathways. So once it gets activated, then the gene's actually expressing itself, or it's lying dormant. So I'm absolutely convinced that after that happens, some new methylation pathway activates, and you just start getting the dad joke gene expression. Yes, I am a mega nerd band. Let me think about this. So what do we do if we didn't have any other testing? Execution pass match sticker. Got it. What's up? I love dad jokes, but it's hard to do them with my wife sometimes. Her sense of English is being her second language. I just end up having to explain it. That's what helps it, dude. What was it? I heard a thing that says the reason why puns are such a high form of humor is because you have to have a very firm grasp of the language to get the puns. And so, for example, I worked with a guy from El Salvador, and he tells me this joke about something about a duck in a bathtub on an ambulance, and I totally don't get it. Then he explains it in Spanish to another lady who'd come into the store, and she dies laughing. So it's something that like the joke doesn't translate from Spanish to English. Let's see. All right, let me check something. I need to get the task string. Don't get me wrong, she gets it eventually, but sometimes it takes some explaining. Oh yeah, I believe it. All right, let me check something. What I want to do this right. So we're going to go ahead and extract this piece of data, and what we want is the task. The actual task key. I should have named this a little bit better because we have a task with the task subkey into it. Okay, so we get that here. We need to do one more thing here. So if it's a new task, and if we have not passed the pre-flight check, so basically if this is false, no PFC yet, then what we do is we check for data to see, like, check if we have any entry for the target's IP address. If we do, then we return an AI message saying, hey, by the way, we're going to route this over to validate. If we don't have an entry for it, we go ahead and set this here. And we need to set the task string. There we go. I think that's what we need to do. It's funny because now when she tries to do it, it almost always comes out wrong. All right. I think this will work. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take all this old code down to here. Comment that out. All right, so what we're going to do is we need to set up the context here. So if the task string is not none, the only time we actually change, like, what we're doing is, hey, if we have a validated task, we hunt for a new task. Here. Grab that. If there's a new task, so if it's a new task, then we're already using the same variables that we had. That's fine. We go down this execution branch mirror. That's fine. So no task available, we're going to route back to Stinger. Totally fine. So what we should be able to do is we should be able to get the Stinger context and the host object. Actually, I think I do like the idea of having the context. So context will equal state context. We'll start with that, and then let's see. So if it's a working task, what we'll do is we're going to say the context is going to be, context was a list of strings or hosts. Actually, I don't even want this. I don't even need the... Actually, do I need the state context for this? No, because every task has a target IP address, so we don't actually need this part here. So what we're going to do is just, we're going to initialize that as a blank right here. But so working for the context, we'll say. You can't do that. Look at how I want to do this. Let's look at the prompt real fast. So for the prompt preparation, doing is we need to pass in the task and then the context. Maybe what we ought to do here, this a little bit simple. So if we have a task and we have a target IP address, if the target IP is not in there, what we can do is we can actually just build it. What did I do? I think I did that in the output. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. So what we can do is actually we can duplicate this little bit of code right here. If it's working, we've already got an entry in the state table for it. If it's validated, we've already got an entry in the state table for it. If it's a new task, and if there's no pre-flight check yet, and we say, is there an entry? Let's see. Target IP has entry in the host table. There we go. So if the target entry does not exist, what we can do is this. We can just go create this. We need to change this a bit. This won't be from the output. Host name, we can just leave blank. And then this won't be the IP address. This is going to be our target. Be our state current task target. What we do here is we're going to add blank entry to table. There we go. Okay, so then we're gonna need to recommit the state table. Give me 1 minute, guys. I need to run to the restroom. Then we'll hit this again. Because I need to make sure that what we're doing is whenever we return all this, we return it properly. Yeah, like here we're gonna have to update this return because we're gonna have to return the host also. Okay, let's just go ahead and make that update. Yes. Current task, and then save it. Oops. Yeah. There we go. We're gonna return that. All right. Give me 1 sec, guys. I'll be right back. I gotta run to the restroom. All right, I'm back. I'm back. And see, Oni, I didn't even have to see the chat to know what you were going to ask. By the way, I added something just for you, Oni. I'm glad you. I kind of want to test this here. Let's see if this rework of this actually does what I'm hoping it does. It should do. So we check if it, make sure the task, the current task is assigned to read. Damn, I just realized something. So what we check is if the next task is not assigned to. can't see. Oh, damn it. I'm not still poop. I turned the camera back. Thought I pushed the button. Well, let's see. I just realized we need to do something if it's not assigned to read. Yeah, I'm here. I gotta think about this. So we had this makes sense. Like, hey, by the way, if we get the current task and it's assigned to recon, we want to check this stuff. However, we also need to check and make sure that if it's we need to do something if it's not assigned to. Well, let me think about this. So if it's not assigned to recon, we want to do another task hunt. I think I want to do something here. That is so loud. Otito, what's up, man? Did y'all hear the dial-up, by the way, when it played? What was the volume on it like? It is so loud on these in-ear monitors. I'm gonna have to adjust the volume. Ooh, anyway, Otito, thanks for coming online, man. All right, I gotta define something. I've got some code I'm reusing in here. Let's get new task. What I want to take in from here is new task, and that's going to be list of task objects. And then the next thing we're going to do is going to do agent, which is in this case. Okay, I'm gonna put this in. So that would be the first object. The first argument is what agent we're hunting for, a list of tasks. That's going to take in a task list here. What I want to do is I'm going to actually put this in. Not there, is it? There's. going to do is we're going to enumerate the tasks here. I'm going to say my oldest son turned 15 on Tuesday, so today he wanted all-you-could-eat Korean barbecue. When my son got up to use the bathroom, my wife loudly asked if he had to go poop. He looked so embarrassed. Oh, you pooping? Let me back out this change real quick. I'm not going to take this part out here. I'm going to leave this for now. I'm going to make a copy of it. What we're going to do is I'm going to have this get new task function just to operate here so I can get some of this stuff back. So what we're going to do is this will be tasks. Take that out, and then we'll change this to whatever the agent is. Task and a new task. Let's change this to it. There we go. That's my wife's sense of humor. She sounds hilarious. I can't wait to meet her. You know, with my copious amounts of free time. Alright, this is what we're going to take out. So we're going to take this out. Take this out. We're going to take that out. Take that out. Take all this stuff. Take this out. What we're going to do is we're going to say, I think this is just going to return an integer.
I'm back, baby.
Eventually, I know, eventually we'll all get to hang out, man. Alright, so we're going to enumerate all these tasks. We're going to find if the task matches the agent, and if it's new, then rather than breaking, what we're going to do is just, we're going to return index. There we go. Perfect. Let's put a little note in here. Get the index to the first new task assigned to the agent. Okay, so what we can do now is, let's come back down to this hunt loop here. So if it's a validated task, what we're going to do is we're going to say state. We're going to just directly update the current task, and this is going to be get new task. And what we're going to do is pass in the agent, so it's going to be recon, and then we're going to pass in date tasks. Perfect. See, are we returning that down here? Okay, so we do update the current task. Perfect. And then what we'll do is say state task, current task. State. And then first what we're going to do is we're going to change this, not the status. We're going to extract the task string. Do this. say, so we'll put that to the task right here. Perfect. All right, so we'll extract out our task string, which we need for the prompt, and then we're going to make a couple of other modifications here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking each of these lines of code, I'm porting them up here, and then this loop is going to go away because we've extracted it out to this get new task. What else do we want to do here? Extract the task string. We would have set the task status. Set that to working. See, I don't know why it does this. Expected a type literal, and I'm like, I gave it a. I don't know why it complains about that. It's like working is one of the 3 values that can be. Let's see. So we already set the current task index. That's good. Then we can take this and just screw that. Move this here. All right, I don't think we need anything else from this. Let's see. We got the task string. We update the status. We already updated this. So this can now go away. We compress that down a bit. Okay, awesome. So if it's assigned to, so we check the first task. If it's assigned to recon, we do some checks. If it's not assigned to recon, then what we want to do is go find a new one. Trying to think about through the control flow for this. And again, this is part of the exercise of trying to learn this because honestly, I fully admit I suck at writing code from scratch. So this is part of a learning exercise to be a better code developer. Hacking on code, no problem. Writing it from scratch, this is what I'm trying to think of. This was assuming that we had a task that was coming in and it was already assigned to recon. So what we want to do here is that's the state that our task can be in. Also, we could have a state here that says it's a recon task or not a recon. So if it's not a recon task, then we want to hunt. Want this to go to a task hunt. If it's a recon task, then we want it to kind of go through this tasking workflow here. The thing I'm trying to think of is if it's not a recon task, if we check for this first and then we send it up, is that going to cause any issues? Because what I'm honestly thinking about doing is, hey, up here we do one more check that says, hey, by the way, if it's not a recon task. I like this idea because this makes it very readable, but I think what I need to do is bust this out. And in fact, this is wrong because that should be a double E. But I think this is what I'm going to have to do. Take this. Yep, I'm gonna have to just do this. Task assigns to. We'll just notate. Task is working. And this one will be task is validated. And the reason why is because if I change something before this, as we extract these variables out, then we'd have to go back and update them as we're doing this. It just makes a little bit more sense to not abstract them and just have it to be a real-time check. Tasks. So if the task is, if it's not assigned for recon, then what we could do is we could just do get new task. So if not assigned to, what we'll do is we'll just do state task. It's going to be get new task for recon the state table. I think that will work just fine. So if it's not assigned to recon, then we go find one that is. We go get a new task that's assigned to recon. Then if it is assigned to recon, we say, okay, cool, let's go through our execution. We check, is it working? If it is, we're Gucci. Is it validated? Then we go get a new task. And by the way, if it's a new task, so basically what should happen is if it's not assigned to recon, it's going to skip down to this execution right. We'll go through and do the pre-flight check. I think that will work. Let me try something. Let me go back over into see if we still have it. I still view the state. Oh, I can. Nice. Wait, let me do something I've learned the hard way. Save this so it'll omit all the changes. Do the state here. JSON here. And what I'm going to try and do is this. Let's come over to I'm going to drop in all of this state data here. And I'm going to make a change to the task. So if we go to task, that's assigned to recon. That's assigned. That's enumerate. Okay. This way we should just be able to run the recon. See what happens. Key error on current. Current task wasn't set. Current task 0. Context. Key error on agent. Everything looks like it should be in there. Let's go. That's weird. Line 35. That's our hunt check. Got it. Why is it saying we got a key error here? Because our task list. Oh, this is all jacked up. Yeah, for some reason when we did the view raw, it got all kinds of... I've never actually done this. Small. You know what I'll do? Let's run it from scratch. Okay, so we got an index out of range, but that's not 4. So let's see what happened here. Alright, so it assigned the first 2 to recon, which is fine. But for some reason, we got it out of range. Let's see where that came from. Oh, interesting. So it did. Oh, so it did go to the recon agent. Let's see what it chose here. I think our LLM call is not formatted properly. Oh, right. We actually need to go set up the context for all the language model calls. Hey, sorry, Pros, I just saw your message here. So I'm new to programming and here people have their favorite code editors. Which one? I actually like VS Code quite a bit. I think it's fun for like general purpose stuff. But this one right here for Python, I mean, this is PyCharm, and I actually really like it. I didn't want to like it at first, but as I've gotten used to it, it actually helps out quite a bit, especially with doing some of the different virtual environments and different pieces. So PyCharm has been working really well for me. I like it pretty well. They also have one for Rust, which I forget what it's called. It is Rustover. I'm sorry, Rust Rover. It's by the same group. Makes this. Wow, I can't even remember who makes this. JetBrains, that's it. Yeah, JetBrains makes it. Trying out VS Code, easy for me to pick up and start coding. It is. VS Code can get kind of cluttered real quick though. So as you start adding new extensions, it can get pretty bloated and it can be a memory hog. But also, it has a lot of really nice quality of life features. So don't let anybody discount VS Code. If you like it and you want to really dig into it and use it as a full-blown IDE, you can do that, and it's not a bad option. I've really been enjoying using PyCharm for Python. For other stuff, like especially if I need to read code real fast, maybe that's why I like VS Code so much, because most of my work when I'm doing offensive stuff, if I'm downloading pieces of code, let's say I get access to an internal code repository and I'm downloading it, I can open it up in VS Code and get a pretty quick overview of it without having to go set up like a full-blown IDE. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I liked it so much. Okay, so I realized that we didn't do something here. So basically, we check the current task. If the current task is, if it's not set to recon, then we go hunt for a new one. We get that. All right. So if the task is working, let's go ahead and set the context here. So we'll say context append. What we want to append is we want to append the task and the host. We got the task string already. So really what we would append is we want to append the host. So we'll do state. Let's go get the target IP. So we'll do target IP is going to be our current task target IP. Let's grab that. Target IP. And then what we're going to do is we're going to append that. So we're going to do context. We're going to append state host. And the host we're going to get is the target IP. I can't tell. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, actually, I think this will work. I think this will be nice and reproducible. I use VS Code mostly, though I have been trying to transition to using in Vim like a true nerd. I do like Vim also. I have never used Vim as an IDE, but it's very nice to have a go-to, like whenever I hop into a new system, especially like if I'm pivoting through Linux land and I'm on an assessment. I try to use a lot of the built-in stuff in their default configurations. And the reason for that is because, like, for example, I used to have a very comprehensive and widespread tmux config that I really liked using. I backed off of that because I was getting too comfortable with the creature comforts in it. That whenever I hacked into a new system, and if it had tmux on it, that's great. But then I tried to do stuff with it, and I was like, oh wait, how did I do that in the default without my special key bindings and things like that? So literally just to kind of help my Linux tradecraft a bit, I actually backed that out and started using things in its default config. All right, well, let's see here. So I need to build the context for this. Ooh, I just realized something here. If it's validated and we go get a new task, how are we going to do the pre-flight check? Damn it. I have a custom Tmux config, but it's pretty minimal when I keep all the key bindings default for that very reason. Most of my config is just kind of some status bar styling and some theming and a couple of minor tweaks. Yeah. I kind of like I wish I did want to keep the indexing at 1 instead of 0, but I've gotten so used to it, it doesn't bother me anymore. So if anybody's wondering what he's talking about, so when you make these new tabs down here, like these new pages, like Control B and then C, I've created a new pane inside the session, and they start at index 0, right? So it can be a little bit of a pain if you want to switch back to your base one to go Control B 0 versus just Control B 1. And so you could have it go back like that. And so it's a minor quality of life improvement. I've gotten so used to it, it doesn't bug me anymore. But I used to have that same config in their band where it started at 1 instead of at 0. I'm gonna make another modification here. Does host update utils? I'm gonna rename this. Open router I'm keeping for now. Output formatters. Yeah, I kind of want to rename this. Instead of calling this host update, I think what I'm gonna do is change this to so what I want to do is I want to move. There's a couple of repeated tasks in here that I want to do, so I want to get like this get new task and move it there. I don't know what to do. That's it. What we'll do is we'll just make a new Python. We call this tasking. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out. Here. Need to. That. Because I think what I want to do next is this portion right here. So if it's a new task, wanted to abstract this a bit, but I don't know exactly how it works. Because what I'm thinking of, what I need to do is, if it goes down this branch here where it's validated, yeah, we want to go through and get some new information, get a new task, do this. But then the question is now, how do we get to the free flight check? So I could either take this code and just copy it. Basically take this and copy it up here. Or I could potentially take this over to tasking and make it its own function. And I could have it take in the Stinger state and just return a few items in here. GoPro, I thought you'd already lined up your next contract. Let's see. I'm trying to think how I want to handle this, because this is meant to be working on the state table. Think about this. How do I want to approach this problem? Because I don't want to have like these two giant chunks of code. What we could probably do is actually take this and bust this part out. Stub host. IP addresses. That's not what I want. There we go. So just a real quick helper for this, get stub host. It's going to return a host value here. Getting 5 tickets for a family reunion in Thailand is probably not cheap, Oni. Companies are scared to hire right now because of money. Yeah. I get that. It's definitely it's a weird economic time. This is what I've been kind of warning folks about. I think I kind of saw it coming a while ago, and that is just like planting, every industry goes through this. There's a time for planting and a time for reaping. This is the time for planting. I'm encouraging a lot of folks to, hey, work on building up. There's only really 2 things that support you getting into any role that you're looking at. At least it's like as far as information technology is concerned. If you're looking at development, it's a little bit different. But for IT, for security in the beginning when you're trying to get your foot in the door and begin your career. It's about 80% certifications and 20% body of work. Like stuff you've done on GitHub, any interesting blog posts you've written, things like that. But as you progress in your career, that pretty rapidly begins to shift to about 20% certifications, 80% body of work. After you're years in, I'd say it's pretty much inverted by that point. I just sit on Twitch and wait for Blaze to stream. If I could stream more, I would. I enjoy it, but I gotta balance everything out with the family and everything else. I enjoy being on here and bantering with y'all and working on this code. This is a fun project. It's making me flex some mental muscles I haven't thought about. Pre-flight check prep. I don't know what it's going to take in yet, but we'll figure it out. Actually, I know it's going to take it. It's going to take in a task. It's going to be type task. And so from our task, this is going to be the pre-flight check value. I've been upskilling and refreshing my skills. Awesome, man. Dude, that's what I'm recommending to a lot of folks to do is, hey, don't go job hunting right now. Be a good employee. Keep everything kind of stay stable, but work on boosting and improving. Get those buffs going. This guy might just have to take in the whole state. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I just convinced my employer to send me almost 100K for a year for. Damn. Oh, not to send you, to spend almost 100K. Gotcha. Okay. I thought you meant to send you. I was like, dude, send me some. Okay. I think this is how I'm going to have to do. So from task, current task, check the pre-flight check. So let's take this out. Yeah, I like the idea of this, but I don't like this code is starting to look really ugly. Let me take a like a wider view of this. See if we can look at the execution flow. So let's look at this. So we're going to have our state table come. That's going to point. And then we're going to have the current task. So our current task has only two options. One option is it can be a recon task, or it can be a not recon. If it's a recon task, it could be, what was the order we executed? Working, validated, or new. I think really, actually, we should probably rework this to check to see, hey, if it's validated. We could say it is validated, or it could be actually it could be valid. I think this is a better way to do this, because if it's validated, we're gonna have to find a new task. If it's a new task, then we're gonna have to do either way. These are both gonna go to the pre-flight check. So if it's validated, then we're going to go get a new task, and this will go to the pre-flight check. The other option here being that it's working. If it's not a recon, then it's going to have to go to new right here. Which this is, I got a typo in here. Shouldn't be new, this should be get new. Get new. That is horrible writing. It's. There we go. I had a job where I kind of got complacent, just started relaxing, let my skills slide a bit, so now I'm suffering the consequence. Man, that's actually the kind of the same thing that happened to me at my last job. So the whole reason I started streaming was because I like it and it's fun and I thought it would be a good time. But two, I needed that as like dedicated study time. So my wife, Sock, she put up with me doing it in the beginning 6 days a week, right? For 3 to sometimes up to 5 hours a night if things got really crazy, like when GoPro and I were trying to reverse engineer some regex in an ungodly language called sleep. And I did that for like 6 months solid, practically. I think did it for a long time, and I was able to undo essentially what was 4 years of complacency in that one go. And so if I had just been working on continually like trying to improve my skill set, keep it sharp during that, I wouldn't have had to gone through that horrible phase of it. Hello. Validator. Hackers gotta hack. Exactly, man. Especially with, I think that's one thing a lot of people underestimate with offensive security, is just how quickly everything changes. But actually, it's not so much that things change, it's that new stuff is constantly being introduced, and things are introduced at a rate faster than they fall off, right? So stuff is falling off, like the chances of you seeing tech that is 20 years old at this point, stuff from 2005, pretty low on an assessment. Not saying you won't see it, or you won't see it out in the wild, but chances are that it diminishes over time, right? Especially after something gets to be more than, I'd say, 12 years old, it drops off pretty rapidly. I don't see a lot of server 2012 anymore, just as an example. But as you're going through there, the stuff that just keeps getting built and added is outpacing the stuff that's falling off. So there's this kind of just constant upward sloping curve of new stuff to be aware of. Hey, Senior Goomba, what's up, man? I had another streamer tell me AI is taking over sock roles. Do you agree? I'm not sure. I think it will definitely be an augmentation. And if it's going to do anything, it's probably going to reduce the tier 1 SOC. But also, AI still has a big problem of being able to scale to like large problem sets, right? So typically, tier 1 and some tier 2, they're dealing with a couple of data points, like 1, 2, 3 hosts. But if you start dealing with something like, hey, we've got a large attack chain, or we're doing like a threat hunt because we had this one issue pop up and we're trying to figure out where it originated from, then it's a little bit different in there. I do think a lot of SOC operations, though, where people have just been, because people, maybe the managers don't understand what they're doing, and they can come in and say, hey, let's just slap some AI in its place. If it's a well-run SOC where they're actually like getting deep and executing well, then no, I don't think the AI is going to do a ton to replace them. It is going to help augment them. On the other side, if you have a ill-run SOC where they're not doing a lot and they're just taking a surface look at everything, it's like, well, heck, we can get the language model to do that. So we'll just pay the language model fees, and then we don't have to worry about your health insurance. Boop. Hey, Chris, what's up, man? I didn't see you pop into the chat. How you doing, man? This looks like Python. Not that I'm stressing on completed 2 7-week terms of Python introductory courses at the graduate level. Feeling motivated. Awesome. All right. Let's see. So if we do a get new, then we're gonna have to go through the. All right. I was thinking about busting this part out, this pre-flight check. Actually, I really don't like this idea because it needs too much data to do that. So what I think I'm going to do instead is we're going to keep this right here, basically saying, hey, it's not assigned to recon, then we get a new task right here. Seriously, please don't stop loving me. I know there's some mixed opinions on the CEH. Dude, if you're getting the CEH as like part of your coursework, that's awesome. And yeah, Frozen, thanks for the gifted sub, man. Chris has been out there busting his hump, moving from one industry into cybersecurity, and so I've been encouraging him, man. By the way, Chris, don't make the jump to Windows 11. I tolerate it on my on some of my systems, but I don't enjoy it on any system. Yeah, I wanted to like Windows 11, but they have made such a drastic push to force you to have like a Microsoft Online account. It's like, I don't want a Microsoft Online account. I literally only have it for one reason, is that was for my son to play Minecraft. That's the only reason I have it. Been a mechanic for 10 years, and now I'm going to college to get an associate's in cybersecurity. Nice, man. Dude, so Goomba, the main thing I recommend to folks is, hey, make sure you've got those fundamentals down, because invariably security is always a layer on top of the functionality, right? Everybody says they try to do this, but nobody ever builds something with security in mind. I'm not gonna say nobody, but it's the exception, it's not the rule. First thing you always do is build it with functionality in mind, and then you slap security on later as you find the issues. That's what happens 9 out of 10 times. So think about your security journey in the same way. Focus on your fundamentals, and then you can slap security on top of that. Once you learn how to get the security mindset of understanding a couple of the attack primitives, like, hey, don't trust user input, understanding logic bugs, things like that, it's really simple to say, okay, cool, here's how the tool works. Here's how I can make it work. don't want your damn Windows 11 spyware. Yeah, I know, right? All right, so this would actually be the first part here. So we want to do this check first, this check second. Which what we got. So we say, hey, by the way, this is not recon. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a new task, or set that to the current task. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna check the current task and the agent if it equals recon, which it should. I'm gonna do this. Then what we do is we check to see if it's a working task. So if it's working, we can let it just go directly to the LLM call, which is perfect. All right, so what do we do else if? So if it's validated, actually what we could do here is we could say this is validated or new. Validated and new essentially have the same constraints to them. If it's validated, though, what we want to do is we want to get a new task. Do this. Oh, I hate this. So if it's validated, I mean, there's one more in here, and that is it could be new. Right? So it could be new, in which case then it needs to go down to the pre-flight check. Which, actually, hold on. I screwed that. So this would be, if it is new. Yep, that's actually, I had that correct the first. It's out of here. That's recon. So what we'd have is, if it is new, another execution path here, then we need to go down to the pre-flight check. So the things that can go to pre-flight check is if it's validated, then we get a new, or if it's new, then we get on the pre-flight. So what we can do is we say, hey, by the way, if it's validated or if it's new, come down to the pre-flight. If it's validated or if it's new. So let's see. I know this is going to look a little bit weird, but I'm doing this for a reason. So if it's validated, then we want to go get a new task. Because now what do we have? We got a new task here. We go execute our task string, get our target IP, we append our context there. We set the state to working. And then now what we do is we'd go do a pre-flight check. That's it. Perfect. So if it's validated or if it's new, then we enter this code block. If it's validated, we get a new task. So we update whatever the state's current task is. We extract our task string, our IP address. Actually, this is going to be incorrect. What we're going to do is we're going to append. We take this part right here. So target host is going to be get stub host. I'm going to pass it. Something went awry. Oh, I think I know what I did.
That's not what I'm...
Oh, yeah, actually, no, that was correct. Exactly what I want to do. No, I had to do it that way. So we append our new message saying, hey, we're going to start a new task. Then we're going to do our check. So if there was no pre-flight check, pull this out. This can actually go. There we go. I think I finally got this unflusterclucked. I'm trying to figure out how to up my Blaze Bits loyalty. Do we have a merch store? I am trying to think of stuff, man. I just can't really think of anything I think would be extra cool. Aside from maybe I'll do like the hack around and find out loop, if I could ever come up with a fun one for that. Also, hey Bobby, what's up, man? I can't believe I can actually read what's on the screen for a change. Hooray for cheapo graduate Procton programming. This is getting a little dense too, Chris, because we're referencing a lot of these typed dictionaries over here. So I'm pulling out lots of stuff. So we have this master state table, which is this stinger state class here. And so it's got a bunch of different key values associated to it, one of them being a list of tasks. And then we're indexing that off of another value called the current task. And then it has something called a pre-flight check that basically says, hey, have we checked to see if we could complete this task without having to do like additional nmap or go buster or other tool calls, right? So it's getting a little dense because we're accessing so many sub keys and values out of these state tables because the state table just kind of keeps growing into this monstrosity. This is exciting because it's checking, referring all over the code. It's getting pretty dense. That's why I was having to do like this flow here, because even I'm having trouble keeping track of it, and I wrote it, right? But also I suck at writing code. So what we did is we actually just combined these two together. So if it's new and it's validated, we just kind of put these two in the same setup right there. Let's see if this matches. So if the current task is not assigned to this agent, which is recon, then we basically get a new task that is assigned to it. Then we say, hey, by the way, since you're assigned to recon now, we're going to check to see if you're working.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
So if it's a working task, great. We can just prep it for sending to the language model. We're good. If it's validated or is new, then what we could do is we can say, hey, by the way, what do I want to say here? I think I do want to take this and bust that a bit. Or can I do this? I can put that on a new line. Nice. Okay. Make the code a little bit more. All right, so then we're going to say, by the way, if it's validated or if it's new, execute this branch. If it is validated, go find a new task in the list. And then we're going to start extracting some data. So basically saying if it's validated, put it into the new change the task until it's one that's new. So this is all the stuff that should execute for a new task. So what we do is we take out the task string, we take out the target IP address, we set the context by a host appending the host data to it, and then we change the status of the task to working. We append ourselves a little logging message, hey, we're starting a new task. So if it has not passed the pre-flight check, then we check to see, does that target IP address exist in our host table? If it does, then we're going to send it to validator for pre-flight check with all the host data and say, can you answer the question for the task in here? Otherwise, if it doesn't exist, then what we're going to do is we're going to create a stub host using that target IP address. We're going to pin that to the host table, and then we're going to go ahead and set the pre-flight check to true. Awesome. Yo, dog, I heard you like if statements, so I put some if statements inside your if statements just in case you like them. Bring it down. What's up, man? Thanks for coming online. I guarantee Bender must have said that at some point. If statements, just in case you like them. I'll see if I wasn't so worried about getting sued by Fox or whoever holds the IP for Futurama, I would make Hecklebot's voice Bender. I think that would be hilarious. Okay, I think we might actually have this kind of running now. Let me go over to the Stinger state. Let me copy this. I want to do another test run real quick. Except, you know, I just realized we've been working on this so long. I bet TryHackMe terminated our machine. Yeah. It is almost time to end the stream, but I'm not unauthorized. Why are you acting like that? Log in, bastard. 1 sec. There we go. Seems like an interesting stream. I try, man. We have a lot of fun in here. Hopefully, we get this machine started up. I want to try one more scan on it real quick. I'm thinking that, especially after I think this part gets done, if this works, I'm probably going to blow away the enum agent and just restart it from scratch as the same thing as the recon agent, because these two are essentially clones of one. They're very, very close. So probably what I'll do is I'll blow away the enum agent, rename everything to get it all back to flat, and then we'll be good here. These were supposed to be very similar, but in the future, they'll be a little bit different. So like Recon, for example, might not change, but enum agent will eventually change because we'll add further stuff to it. We'll add subgraphs that it can call as tools in here. So rather than being the list of tools from RoboPages, it might have that plus other graphs that it can call, like a Windows Active Directory enumeration graph. Or maybe one of the tools we'll have in here will be like a Bloodhound ingester. Things like that. We got another good 4 hours. Bro, I got to be up so early for church in the morning. And every minute I go past 11 o'clock, the probability of incurring wife aggro goes up. Come back over here. Did I save everything I was doing? Let's do that. What I'm going to do is, after this reloads, I'm going to put an interrupt on enum before it enters enum, because what I want it to do is actually just go through the recon phase here. So we'll drop this in. Let's double check the IP. 10.10.166.158. Yeah. All right, let's run this. Send it. They have a list of mentoring rates. Oh, I screwed up something over here. Key error. Let's go take a look at that. Okay, so line 46, we've got an error. Context append state host target ID. That's in recon 8. Let's go check that. Oh, yeah, we don't actually want that there. I just realized. Because we haven't added the host entry yet. Yes, actually, this is incorrect. This needs to come down. There we go. In fact, I might want to undo this task. We double check this. So if the state equals validated, then we're going to get a new one. That new task string is going to be here. We do want to get the task string. The context was what was screwing it up. The problem is we were trying to append. So the context is what we're going to be using locally down here in the LLM call. So we didn't want to append that just yet. Save this change. We want to append that after all this other logic runs. Because if we do have a host entry, then great. Otherwise, we want to go add it, add this stub host, and then we'll get it here. All right, hit the tool node. It's brand new. We didn't have a host entry. Tool node is calling we called nmap TCP port syn scan. We're going to format this. Red team or clean. This Python code, it probably looks like smashed booty, if I'm honest. Okay, so we hit another error here, but we're getting closer. Let's see where everything went. Let's go look at the trace of it. All right, so we hit the recon agent, we hit a tool node, output formatter, we update the host. So our input is, hey, here's all of our stuff, our output. Seems to be just flat out sending this to the language model and letting it do it seems to be working pretty well. So that's good. Our validator here says how many ports are open. Answer 2. Good there. Recon agent then has a fault here. So let's see, what is the fault that it's... So for some reason, it doesn't like the task string extraction on line 45. So if we look at what's our current task is still 0. Oh. So that is 45. Oh no, Chris, this is a project I've been working on the last couple months. Basically, it's a way to like build agentic AI systems, so I can start learning what it's doing. Thank goodness it isn't expecting you to run code from a command line input like sysargv. That's not actually that hard to think about, Chris. Hey, Dev, what's up? My home directory, excluding the .ders, is less than 4. So tiny. I've actually got I've got an old computer here that I'm trying to back up for my dad, and it's got like 260 gigs on the hard drive, which isn't that bad, but it's running spinning Rust. It's a hard drive, and so trying to get the data off of it and backing it up to my NAS is just such a long process. Dude, I don't even feel like I'm a heavy hitter, Chris. I feel like I'm just swinging at mosquitoes here. Okay, so for some reason it did not like this.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
Why didn't it like that though? Oops, it says list indices must be integers or slices, not none type. Okay, so something got assigned to none here. Current task. Let's see. List indices must be integer or slices, not none type.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Frozen, you're so full of caca. You're full of it, sir. Now I want to record myself swinging at mosquitoes this summer for YouTube. Actually, the best idea I ever saw was this guy. He made the funniest mosquito catcher, and what he did is he basically just put like a fan, right? So he's got a little fan here, and then behind the fan, all he's got is a little mosquito net, right? So it's sucking in the mosquitoes this way, and they're just getting stuck in the net on the other side here. I'm like, that's actually pretty brilliant. So I'm gonna probably just go get some mosquito net and build one to put it in my back porch, because the mosquitoes in Texas can get pretty atrocious. This says get new task. So recon, we pass in the task state. This should return an integer, so that should be fine. But what did it return here? I don't know if I'm spending these floppy disks to help the channel, but him doing it. It's just for fun, man. I am so smart. SMRT. I like the video of people using propane gas in Ant-Man's and then lighting it, and the whole yard just it's floating in the air. Thankfully, don't get any ant mounds like that. But actually, it was funny because I did get one. I got a bite, like from some fire ants when we were at one of the motocross tracks, like right there on my thumb or my finger. So it was really nice because then after it blistered up, I was just going around to everybody. It's like, hey, look, I got bit by a fire ant. You want to see? Okay, so I don't get why it was flaking out right here. So let's look at the trace again real quick. So if we look at the task table, right, current task is set to 0. We have a host field in here. So for task 0, it's set to recon. Its status is validated. So it's saying it hit line 45. What we did is it is set to recon. It was set to validated. So if it was validated, we got a new task, which was get new task. So state current task was this one right here, get new task, right? So then the task string should have been this. I don't get why. Get new task is a really straightforward. It looks for recon. Get the index to the first new task assigned to the agent. Yeah. All it does is return the index value. Here, we enumerate the tasks. If the task agent is equal to the input agent, and then if the task is new, return this. That typo. Let's see, get the index, the first new task assigned to the agent. Yeah. This is really straightforward though, so it should just return the index. So if the task is equal to agent and the status is equal to new, return that index. So that shouldn't be a problem. That's so weird. I wonder why it flaked out like that. List indices must be integers or slices, not none type. Oh, I see what happened. Look at the agent at the task list. Recon, enum, enum, enum. That's the problem. So the problem here is so if it's not assigned to recon, it does that. So if the task is validated or new, this. Okay, so we do need a little bit of an adjustment here. Get new task. We'll do this, and then if it doesn't hit anything else, then we'll do is we'll return a -1. And then we need to do a check right here. So after we tell it to get the new task, yep, so let's do this. So what we'll do is we'll just do a return down here. Yeah, we'll just do a return here. So if state current task equals negative 1, then what we'll do is we'll return our little AI message. No tasks were marked for execution passing to Stinger. That's what we'll do. So we'll return that back. Okay, I get it. I was laughing at my wife today because some ants freaked her out, and I asked her why, because her people eat ants. When food attacks. Alright, I think I can take out all this old code here, just cluttering stuff up. Let's clean this up a bit. Alright, so now this is going to be really ugly, but what I'm going to do is... I take all this out. Let's do find replace. Find recon. It's email. Okay. See, did we get any code errors? That's a quick and dirty way to do this. Let's see, I didn't get any errors down here. Enum looks to be okay. So what we'll do is back over to Stinger. Let's do one more run on this. Because what should happen is basically we should only have to do 2 tool calls, and we should get answers for all of the tasks in here. I know something more delicious than prepared ants and scrambled eggs. Lace Bits merch. I don't have any good ideas for merch. I actually had a really funny idea for something that I was going to see about doing like a limited run of, and they were going to be like malware shoes. Like, so shoes themed after different types of malware. And I might have an artist that's willing to do it, but then I got to figure out how to get some of the other stuff done. Actually, my good buddy Chris, who made the APT game, by the way, I finally got my copy in from the Kickstarter, and I think I might maybe I can work with him on it, because he actually has all the shipping infrastructure already done, so he can teach me how to do it. Not pet just shoes. I think it'd be pretty funny. It's doing stuff now. We have stuff happening. Okay, actually, it looks like we're getting somewhere. So let's check and see what our task status was. This was validated. Answer 2. That's good. Hold on, where's our task list? What's happened to it? Oh, here we go. All right, so this one was validated. We got an answer off of it. What service is running on port 22? SSH. Nice. It actually did not skip that one. What version of Apache is running? Empty string. What? Before it skipped the SSH one, now it's skipping the Apache one. Oh, it says it's working on it. What's it running though? Damn it, we're getting a different variation of the same problem where it's skipping a task. Getting code red hiking boots. Oh, what is this? The unstoppable force versus the immovable object. I don't see why people see this scenario so tricky. It says unstoppable force, not unstoppable and intangible force. Unstoppable force-carrying particles can't interact with unmovable matter by definition. You're making assumptions there, Randall. I think it's Randall. That's the guy's name, right? Randall makes this. I haven't looked at XKCD in forever. A pen test belt buckle. Ooh. Alright, so I think it's still running GoBuster here. Let me see if I can look at what we got in the trace so far. Because GoBuster can take it forever. Okay, so from recon handoff, current task was still set to 0 for some reason. Let's see. Recon agent, no tasks were marked for execution, so passing to Stinger. Okay. So when Stinger gets a copy of this, what's the current task set to? Still set to 0 for some reason. So when Enum gets it, it's set to 1 though. So Stinger's doing something to set it to 1. It's fine, because task 1 here is what service is running on 22. We go to the validator, say, hey, what's running on 22? We get an answer back. Go over to the enum agent. Weird, so it's doing the same thing it did before. Oh, don't tell me. No, it should have already hotfixed all this code in. Here. So for some reason, Stinger, when it does the current task, the input comes in at 1. Output, for some reason, goes current task 3. Okay, so there's something weird. Look at this. Enum agent sending task to what version of Apache is running to validator for pre-flight check. That's here, right? So here's our output. I know you can't see it because my big head's in the way. Enum agent sending task to pre-flight check. This is from the enum agent. For some reason, the router, though, is returning handoff. So let's look at the router code again. Not handoff. Where's our router? Let's see. So what version of Apache is running? Let's look at the state table. That was task. That's task 2. And coming into this, the pre-flight check is false. So as we enter the router, right? What's the current task set to? Current task was set to 1. Oh, that's why. The current task did not get updated for some reason. See that? Sending task to which version of Apache is running to validator. All right, so that was task 3 or task 2. But for some reason, current task the current task was still set to 1. Do shell shock slipper? Yeah, shells. Damn it, I can't even say it. Shell shock slippers and heart bleed loafers. I love these ideas. A T-shirt with some variation of vulnerability management or vulnerability tester with an arrow pointing down. Hey Deb, what about airplay? Oh, the airplay bug. Yes, the airplay bug in the SDK. That was wicked. By the way, if y'all didn't know about that, there's a bug in the AirPlay SDK. So anything you have that's AirPlay enabled, it's in a pretty bad state. So you might want to go patch your speakers. Are pre-flight checks preset or default, or do they need to have a certain binary, or are we just trying to set pre-flight checks to all true? So when we first initialize, so like we come up here, right? So after the initializer comes back, all of the pre-flight checks will be set to false. And the pre-flight check says, hey, do we have information about the target, this target in the host table? And if we do, then take all the data we've got for that host, send it along with the task question over to the language model and see if it can answer the question. So what we're doing is, before we do any more tool calls and additional extraneous scans on the network, we're saying, hey, can we answer the question with data we've already compiled? It's what it's doing. That's the pre-flight check. Do log4j work boots and log4shell work for boots? I think, you know what I think would be better? Log4shell, like beach shoes, like flip-flops or something. Rowhammer clogs. Dude, you're killing me. Okay, so there's a problem here. So Stinger. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely an issue here. So the router, look at this. So router says current task is 1, right? Task 1 was already answered. That's fine. And task 1 had a pre-flight check already set to true. Look at the code here. The router says if it has a tool call, send it to the tool node. If it does not have a pre-flight check, then send it to the validator. And so the pre-flight check was already true. So the problem here is, once it comes back up to the enum agent, yeah, that's what's happening. So if we look at our messages, right? Literally make all these and sell them at conferences. Boom, rich. I was thinking about doing them like as limited runs because I don't know like what size shoes people would. I'm combining the ideas of the Log4j on a t-shirt with Log from Ren and Stimpy. Dude, that was such a disturbing clip that I did not even realize was disturbing till I was an adult. I can't believe I watched Ren and Stimpy as a child. Alright, so what's happening here, I can kind of tell what's happening, is that we're getting a lag, right? When we hit the router's input is saying the current task is 1. But if we look at this, we're sending task 2. But let me go find out, where did we use this in the code? Yep, that's the problem. Look at this. The problem is we need to return everything that we're updating to the state table. So all we're doing is if we hit this return value, we haven't committed anything else. That's the problem. Yep, that's the problem. So what we need to do is actually just append this value to the AI messages. So if we... Yeah, that's the problem right there. In fact, that's not even going to work right here as I think about this. We still have to do a return here. So what we're going to do is we're going to return to messages, return agent messages, and then also what we're going to return is current task. So our current task, I see what's happening now, is we're going to return we're going to return this current task. So we're updating the value to our local copy of the state table. Yep, that's it. I think that will fix it. Okay, let's go try running this again. See what happens. Fast asynchronicity. What's up, man? The true irony? She was telling the truth. Oh, wait, hold on. I missed the message here. So I was told the The Figaro neck chain brought up my eyes just before she left me for the bully of the school. Okay, so we got it updating here. It's doing stuff. I loved my Jinkos in the 90s. I wanted a pair of Jinkos. My parents would never buy me one. Hey, Destroyer T, what's up? Well, thanks for coming online. Welcome in. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, what tool is this thing running? Is it running GoBuster? It is running GoBuster. So what I'm going to do is... let's take a look at our task list here. So going into this. So for task 0, got the answer. Good. But for task 1, got an answer, SSH. Task 2, got an answer. Cool. Now we need to find out what that change was and actually go propagate it over to Recon, because I have to go do that. But I'm gonna let this run for just a minute. That GoBuster can take freaking ever. So I got time here. What I'm gonna do is go over to about line 56 and go adjust them. So that was the problem. Is it usually seems to be the problem here is that this state management. We have to make sure and return like what we're changing, whatever. What software are we building what software are we building this Python source tree in? So I'm using PyCharm as the IDE, and pretty much the entire code base is written in LangGraph. And so LangGraph is a framework for interacting with language models. It's built on top of LangChain, and what it does is allows us to build this graph style database. And each of these nodes in here, I know they're hard to see because it's processing right now, but each of these nodes essentially takes in a single object called your state table and passes it around. Now, this one up here, this is actually the parent graph. I know it's really hard to see right now. This is the parent graph called Stinger. Stinger's the manager for all the other agents. So we have a recon agent, and we've got an enumeration agent here. And you could actually go through, since these are their own graphs, we could make different state tables that are more appropriate for the workflow of these agents. But for what we're doing, we're just passing around the entire same state table to everybody. They all work off of a state table called the Stinger state. So, and that state table is essentially your book of truth. So you can, when you bring it in, you get a copy of the state table. And then when these nodes return, you just return what the updates to the state table will be. So you don't have to return an entire new copy of it, just whatever you need updated onto it. So for example, if we look at the host update one here, host update takes in a copy of the Stinger state here. And when we return it, we just update the host to it. So we take, so it takes an entire copy of that book of truth, does some processing to it, and just returns that single copy that we had modified locally, and also an agent message. I just landed my first pen testing role, and men look like the guys that interviewed me. Oh wait, is my camera not on? There we go. I turned it off so y'all could see something. That's funny. Yeah, it was funny. Someone asked me, it's like, hey, how come all the offensive security guys have big epic beards? And I was like, mine was not a conscious choice. It was just an evolution of choices. So if everybody doesn't know that story, I had a beard, and it was usually pretty short and trim. And that was because my beard grew so fast, I could shave at 7 in the morning, and by 7:30, it was too sandpaper for my wife to want to kiss me. So literally, it was just so I could get smooches from Sock. That was the whole reason I grew the initial beard. And then I got into a really busy work cycle about 2 years ago, and shaving just went out the window. And it was about the time that Honey Badger was born. And Honey Badger just one day reaches up and starts playing with my beard like it's the funniest thing ever. And so ever since then, I've been letting it grow. So about a year ago, it was down to about here. And this is about 1 year's growth this way. Just blame it on the Unix. All about the Pentiums, baby. Also, Chris, no problem explaining this. New agent online, Frozen. What's up, man? Thanks for the sub, dude. I just made a Pentium joke, felt my age. Bro, so anybody who's my age or close to it, you know who Leo Laporte is, right? Back when he used to do his call-in show late at night, I forget the name of the show, but we're talking late 90s, right? Mid 90s, maybe. I called in to his show because I was trying to figure out how do I upgrade my computer to a Pentium. I didn't know anything about computer hardware. And those jerks told me, sorry, we don't take questions from children. Like, you ass. God damn it. I've been doing really good. I've been doing pretty good on not cussing. That's a personal improvement I'm trying. It looks like we got a full execution done. Let's go look at the trace real quick. If this worked, I think that's probably we're gonna call it a night, and we might actually start working on the exploitation agent tomorrow. Lord help me, because that's gonna be probably the single hardest one. We don't take questions from children. What's funny is I bet that computer wasn't even upgradable to a Pentium at the time. All right, so let's just take a quick overview here. So we go through the initial steps for the Stinger agent. We transfer over to Recon. We do an Nmap TCP port scan. Then once that's done, it answers the first question. That's the only task assigned. Like if we look right here. So for our tasks, the only one assigned to Recon was task 0, tasks 1, 2, and 3 were both assigned to Enum. So this is what we'd expect. So we only have one call to the validator. So for LangGraph though, for the Enum agent, we hit the Enum agent, then the validator, then the Enum agent and the validator, then the Enum agent and the validator, and then we hit the Enum agent and a tool call, which should be fine, because if we come look at this one, it's probably going to say, use GoBuster, what can we do? Answers nothing. We couldn't get a response back from it. Totally fine. That's what we'd expect, because it actually has to use GoBuster to find the hidden directory. So if we look one up from here, actually, let's go one up from that, so the validator. And if we look at the task here, let's see. So it looks like it did. Recon answered. We did an Nmap scan to get this answer, right? Nmap TCP port send scan. This one, we had no tool calls, but we have an answer. So we know it went through the validator. This one, which version of Apache is running? Apache 2429. No tool calls. Means we answered it from the state table. And then finally this one here at the end. So if we come back down to the very end, wait, what happened here?
Fight the planet!
Did we not hit handoff? What happened? The GoBuster ran, we got the info back. We did an output format. Also, hacked the planet. We got our data back. Host updates. Updated the stuff on port 80, which is so sweet. Interesting
Bullshit,
that
I
it says
can't
service
hear you.
unknown there.
Sound off like you got a pair.
Still full of crap, Pony. Actually, this is a little bit unusual because if we look at this, right? Let's go back up here. So the input for host update, if we look at hosts and ports, this is weird. So if we come back earlier in here, we have lots of information about the host. However, we come over to host update. Let's see. This is weird. Somewhere along the chain, host update loses his information. Okay, we'll have to go through and debug this a little bit because somewhere around here the host table is getting purged. Yeah, it's wicked close, bud. All right, but at least I know where to pick up with tomorrow. So we're so close. I was hoping to get through the exploitation agent tomorrow. Let's go update the to-do list real quick. Let's see. So this is done. This is done. So let's look at this in enum. So what we're going to need to do is investigate host table being purged. I think I can. That was not what I wanted. There we go. I gotta spin my floppies before the live stream closes. Good luck with that. What are the next 2 live streams going to be? So right now we'll do Saturday and Sunday, and then Tuesday nights.
Bullshit, I
Except
can't
this
hear
Tuesday.
you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Damn it, Oni. No stream this Tuesday though, because I'm going to be in Chicago for work, and then I'll be back after that.
Nerd!
Damn it, Oni.
Fight the planet!
Yeah, so investigate host table being purged.
I'm back, baby.
Probably done on accident. During PFC. I'm betting what happens is during the pre-flight check is we have it go generate a stub host and then append that to the host table. I bet that's where it's happening. Oh, that sound. Oh, real quick, do y'all hear the dial-up sound when someone does the follow? By the way, Deep Diplomat, thanks for following, man. Thanks for coming online, brother. Oh, thanks, Frozen. Appreciate it, man.
Incoming transmission from Frozen_Fashion Quality Streaming. Thank you at BlazeBits.
By the way, I think... There we go. I'll drop this over in the chat. If anybody wants to take a look at the Langsmith trace for this last run, you could go through it there. I'm thinking what happened, though, is I'm betting as it's running through... As it's running through some of these pre-flight checks, right? I bet that's what's happening. So up here in the agent, when it runs through the pre-flight check, I bet it's generating a stub host and then accidentally overriding what's in there. Yeah. So Dova, what we're doing is getting ready to wrap up the stream, unfortunately, because it's getting late here. Oh crap, it's almost midnight. Life will kill me. We're building a little AI agentic hacking bot that's supposed to go through and play like Try Hack Me and Hack the Box. So, but I'm trying to build it in such a way that we can expand on it later without much difficulty. So a lot of my specialization is in Windows Active Directory abuses, things like that. Not really strong in the CTF side, but what we're doing is we're trying to make it so that it can have all the tools it needs to access those things. That's what we're doing right now, Chris. So over here, if you notice, the task list that we gave it is literally this: find the hidden directory. So it has solved all of these tasks. We kind of combined these last two together. But then the next thing is, we got to tell it how to get a shell. So it's got to be able to find the panel, find the hidden upload page, figure out how to upload it, develop an exploit with a proof of concept, and get it going. So we're getting close. These last two steps are actually going to be the biggest pain because actually what we're going to probably do, if I can figure out this routing bug and why the host table is getting squashed real fast, what we're going to do is we're actually going to come back into the Try Hack Me room. We're going to go exploit it, and then we're going to exploit it, we're going to root it, and then we're going to figure out why a particular C2 agent called Arachne wasn't working on it. So we're going to go sysadmin, we're going to hack it so we can sysadmin it, and then figure out how to get Arachne working with it, and see if there were any telltale signs with it. It did not automatically submit the answers to Try Hack Me, no. I'm just using these as kind of like a guidepost. Eventually, what should happen is we don't give it any information except for like maybe an explanation of the room and the target IP address, and then it should be able to go build its own task list based on what it sees. So right now, Stinger is very, very basic. All it's doing, what is it? We can look right here. All Stinger is really doing is having a simulated user input initializer to build the task list, and then Stinger decides, okay, where do I send this stuff to? Eventually, Stinger will have another means of generating tasks based on observations. And same thing for Recon. They'll have there'll be like an observation loop in here somewhere that says, hey, by the way, I noticed this. What else could we look at for this? So right now we're giving it hard targets to hit. Here's the task, here's the task, here's the task. Eventually it should be, there's the IP address, go to it, and let it figure it out on its own. My Stinger is rather basic too. I have to add that to the sound effects board. Good old rim shot. All right, I'm gonna go commit this code though, quick, and then we'll find somebody to raid over to. Let's see, so we'll say reworking pre-flight checks. Yeah, we'll just say that. Reworking pre-flight checks. Alright, so there we go. So the code's up on GitHub now, up on the BlazeBits GitHub if anyone wants to take a look at it. It's on the Hack the Bot repo. Do you have any social media like a Twitter or YouTube? I do have a YouTube. I want to make more videos on there. I just don't know when I'm going to get the time just yet. What I was thinking about doing actually was a series for the latest iteration of Cisco networking to help out with some people with that, because I know a bunch of people are taking Cisco networking, and it's something that's where I started. And so I was going to do like maybe a series of videos like Hacker Teaches, and be like Hacker Teaches to CCNA or CCENT or something. Is LangGraph plugged into PyCharm? Nah. So this whole repository is managed with Poetry, and PyCharm plays very well with Poetry in the virtual environment. That's the reason why I'm using PyCharm. It makes that part a little bit simple. Could you walk us through starting / navigating Packet Tracer? I will have to see if I can get a copy of Packet Tracer. I think I'm technically still a certified Cisco instructor. I don't think that ever expires. Oh yeah, for a video, no. And that's the main thing is I gotta figure out how I'm gonna ever record and cut those videos because the editing process takes forever. All right, let's see who we might be able to raid. Oh. Anybody doing anything interesting? You can totally live stream it or then download the video and upload it to YouTube. I live stream on YouTube also. So that's up there right now. Let's see who's over in Science and Tech right now. Anybody doing something fun over there? None of the space guys are on right now. By the way, if anybody has a raid suggestion, let me know. Actually, what is this guy doing? Mad Academy. What are you working on? Oh, he's in French, looks like. Otherwise, I would go raid him, but I think most of the folks don't speak French. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do the obligatory check over on InfoSec stream. Nobody's on InfoSec streams, not even me. The sort of guy. We got somebody doing Minecraft modding. Hypnotic's on. He's having a good time. InfoSec don't stream. Heck, we don't, man. Trying to see what else. Is You're better off on Discord. Oxygen, free time, self-relaxing. What's that? Yeah, no kidding, right? Hey, Frozen. It was, oh, hey, man. I need to get a mic. Dude. Yes, everybody should have a mic. Personally, I like the, hey, Harsh, what's up, man? I like this one. This is a shotgun mic. So I'm going to rotate it. And you notice, like, it starts picking up less and less of my voice. Pointed, and then as I point it back, it starts picking up more and more of my voice. I love these because I don't have a microphone stand. I'd be willing to stream if what I were doing more than tinkering and watching people's videos guiding me through labs. Dude, it's all part of the game, man. See who got somebody on. I just do a DJ raid. Magda's on. She's actually Taya's on. You know what? I haven't raided Taya in a while. We'll give her a raid. Let's do that. We'll do a DJ raid. It's Saturday night. All right, guys. That is all I got for tonight. Thanks for coming to hang out, giving me ideas, and pointing out where I screwed up in the code. Having a good time. Oh god, we're so close to starting on the exploit agent, which is going to be absolutely horrendously hard. But you know what? It's going to be worth it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, we're going to raid over to Tay, guys. When you get in there, do me a favor, drop the cookie monsters, because I love the cookie monsters. Everyone, y'all have a badass rest of your night. Ah, man, I did it again. Dang it. Swear jar. By the way, the swear jar actually is going to count for something. I'm going to eventually donate that money to charity if it gets high enough. So, but that's all I got for tonight, guys. I'll catch y'all tomorrow night, and maybe we'll finish off this last bug and we
Bullshit,
can
I
get to the
can't hear
explanation.
you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Frozen, you're so full of crap. But I love you. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. I want y'all to remember one thing, and that is I love you. Peace.